Thank you for having me here. Really, I just wanted to, first and foremost, give props to Roslyn and Sepia Art Collective and the Compton Arts Project for all that you do in the community, uplifting the community, inspiring the community, and really bringing exposure to artists and talent that often is not seen, understood, and given the opportunity to share. The immense talent that comes from the city of Compton. So I want to thank and commend you all for that. As a real estate developer, we're in a time that is really unique in the fact that I think we all hear a lot of conversation about, obviously affordable housing, which is a big thing, but throughout all of the developments that are going on within the city, there is a place for art and there is a place for artists that come from those communities. One of the things that we've tried to do at the Bakewell company and all of our developments is make sure that one, that we have, an art component in everything we do. And in most cities, there is an art component requirement that comes on developments. But more importantly, we try to focus on the fact that when we develop in these communities, we give the opportunity to these artists from the community to participate so that they're showing their work, that it builds a sense of community pride along with great artwork within these communities. Currently, we're working on a new project in Compton, which is going to be across the street from our development at Compton Renaissance Plaza, which will certainly have an art component. You have a lot of, big walls, and you have a lot of big, sound walls and things like that. And just these, I don't want to call them monstrosities, but these large walls that really can be a canvas for the community. It can be more than just architecturally friendly designs, but we can include artwork in so many of these projects. And that's the importance of it. But also important is to be able to partner with people like Sepia Collective and the Compton Arts Project, who can then go out and solicit proposals or just look at artwork. I don't really want to get into a whole lot of situation where you're competing for space. You find an artist that you think is talented, that you think can do the project, and give them the opportunity to present their vision for that wall. If you, as a developer, if you don't like it, you tell them, you say, look, I don't like that, or I like this. Can you change this and tweak and work with that artist to develop it? Similar to how you do when you're doing a project regarding architecture. I mean, I go through probably 5 to 10 versions of what is a building going to look like long before we ever present it to the city or to the residents of the community or anything like that. Well, I think you can do the same thing with art in a project. You can work with local artists to help them develop. In public projects where the city's putting up money or the government's putting up money, so often it's a competitive process where they're required by law to, have open bid and things like that. But in the private sector, we can award it to who we want to award it to. And so I think it's important to do that. Not only is it important to give opportunities to local artists, but for me as an African-American developer, just as we try to create opportunities for African-American architects and contractors, insurance companies, African-American law firms and things like that, you do the same with your artists. You want to give that opportunity because you want that artwork to be reflective of the community that is really, in most cases, supported you. Art should certainly be a central part of every development. It certainly can be, it's a showcase. And too often, particularly within our community, those kinds of things aren't considered as part of your development. And they don't need, the two do not have to be separate from each other. The two do not have to, they can complement each other. They can be a main focal point, just as when you're doing a project, the color of the building, the color of the roof tile, the kitchen cabinets and the countertops. Well, the art component needs to be just as much a component of your development and of the, the projects that you're doing. It doesn't just have to be housing, it can be commercial development as well. Right now in this environment that we are, we're in this post-George Floyd era where people are more sensitive to diversity, equity, inclusion. At least that's what they all say. We can have that in another conference for another day. But we need to hold developers' foot to the fire that say, we don't want just a development that has 100 units. We want it to be pleasing to the eye and something that enhances our community and something that also makes us feel good, just as you would a development anywhere else in California or anywhere else in the world. Too often, we as a community are forced to accept just the basic standards of 4 walls and windows and the things that are required as part of the building code. But we should demand and we should ask for and we should receive everything that comes with the quality living, and art plays a big part in that component. So that's really my part in this. And if anybody has any questions, I'm certainly happy to weigh in. But I think what you really want is, I think, partnering with Sepia and the Arts Compton Project, and it doesn't, in anywhere, particularly in our communities and communities of color, we want to make sure that we are inclusionary, not only of the contractors, but the truth is that the artists are contractors too. We go to too many hotels and too many beautiful apartment buildings that have fantastic pieces of art, but our community doesn't have that. And we need to raise our own standards of what we deliver for our community and how we approach and look at things in our community.